What unexpectedly turned you on? We were going through our old childhood books to donate to charity, and she found this Sesame Street picture book I must have owned as a kid. She was going to get rid of it, but I wanted to keep it. She started reading through it to me to tease me. When she got to the section about Ernie taking a bubble bath with his rubber ducky in her teasing voice, it awoke something in me I didn't know about myself before. We kept that book and now she reads it to me on my birthdays, before we had bubble bath coitus. We finally learned the origin story. My former professor took job as copywriter for the education system in our company. So I write the technical stuff, send it to him, and he'll make it nice to read. First time I read his work on my text, I was amazed by how well he understood what I meant and made it so much better, and I got wet. I still sometimes think about certain paragraphs when flicking the beam. Edit. Holy smokes, this blew up. Thanks guys. For those who'd like to see the infamous paragraphs, the text is all in check and is all about printing machines the company uses. He just really nicely explained how print works. Kind of like a reverse hair down moment. Don't know how to describe it. First time noticing was a girl I kind of knew in high school, sort of pretty with really long brunette hair, in a science class. It was a practical lab, so no hanging hair. In just one sweep she gathered up all her hair and pulled and tied it into a ponytail and slipped on the safety glasses, and I was just gone. Edit. This is the most upvotes I've ever gotten before. Neat. Though I might disagree with all the people suggesting that it's just because my brain is expecting a BJ. That would fill me more with fear/apprehension than arousal. After an unfortunate incident some years back, was going to say the same thing. My first date with my girlfriend, she put her hair up in a bun, and it felt like time was moving in slow motion. I wasn't sure if I was gay or not, and those few seconds cleared that one up. I told her about it, and she said it felt a little awkward to her actually. She was struggling to get her hair in the tie, but I enjoyed it. First off, I'm a guy. So my high school had a dark room for a black and white film photography program. I was the only boy in the course. There were about 10 to 15 girls in the class. I was pretty good, and by my junior year, I had been involved in the program longer than any other student. Having so much experience led to me being a good place to go for advice on printing their photos. I would go to their station to figure things out, and the same 3 friends of mine that were girls in that class would come up behind me and rest their chin on my right shoulder, and that would always wake me up. I never expected something like that to send goosebumps up and down my body and warrant a reaction downstairs, but it happened, and I took it in stride from then on. Not the same thing, but I had something similar where I was talking to a female coworker one day about back pain, and for some reason she started telling me how your spine alignment or something can be related to your mood, and proceeded to run her fingers from the top of my spine to the bottom twice to check my alignment and IDKY. But that sent me, and just goes to show human touch is a very powerful thing. Was in bed with my girlfriend and the remote was at the end of the bed. I sit up and basically lazily reach for it on all fours. I'm in some boxer briefs that have a pouch-like thing for your junk, so when I bent over, my sack bulge was pretty much in her face. She just playfully punched me in the sack and it hurt and stung, but I almost instantly got hard. I'm now laying on my back holding my sack in protection. She can see the outline of my obvious boner though, and starts laughing confusedly. She volunteered to mouth hug me as an apology, and since I was already hard, I asked her to tap my sack a little throughout, and I nutted harder than ever. Basically now all of our foreplay commences with light sack busting. Torture. I'm not a fan of anything aggressive, and honestly after months of doing this, don't see myself doing anything more than the slaps/punches and squeezes we do. I had her kick me once, and she didn't really know how much harder a soft kick is than a soft slap. Needless to say, the pain shot through my balls and into my soul. Never again. My favorite is when we are lying on the couch or I'm just getting out of the shower and she grabs me by the balls and erects me into the bedroom. Also long distance shots with slaps during climax. Fear. Years ago I was playing the first BioShock with an ex in a fully darkened room with a wall-sized projector. At some point we came across an operating room where the lights were flickering, blood everywhere, and then got jump scared by a psycho doctor. Full on threw that controller across the room and jumped into his arms. Shortly after we got busy, Years later when my mom died, I uncovered her old stash of Omni magazines where I found an article on the fear response and arousal, and it all made sense. For anybody interested, this phenomenon is known as misattribution of arousal. The physiological processes involved in arousal, such as adrenaline rush, increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, sweating, etc., are very similar to those involved in fear, so in the right contexts fear can be confused with, or can amplify arousal. The same is the case for anger, which perhaps explains why a lot of people enjoy hatterdaking. Went to yoga with my lady friend. At the end of the class, the instructor had us all lie on our backs on our mats, and she was humming or lightly singing. Then she rubbed a lemony oil on our shoulders and foreheads, and the touching and humming gave me a braingasm, and I've been into ASMR ever since. My lady friend did not like hearing how much I enjoyed the conclusion to the class. A mistake I never repeated. It just happens. I just went to a barber shop for the first time and the available barber was a female. I figured I'd be safest with her. All the other barbers are large men with lots of tattoos, which I find sexy as hell. Long beards, sharp hair, UNF. So said female barber starts working on my hair and I instantly got a lady boner. She was so precise with her hand movements, not one motion wasted. The gentle deliberate way she worked on my hair, faded sides, I have a mohawk of sorts, and the straight blade cleanup really put my mind in a difficult place. She was definitely not my type, but it did not matter. She put a warm towel on my neck and gave me what I am so glad was not the best massage I'd ever had. Because if she had, I'm pretty sure I would have moaned audibly. In 30 minutes I had so many shivers shoot down my spine, and as a result I definitely needed coitus. She was nothing but the perfect example of professionalism and respect. But she was so skilled that I noticed through her hand movements. I only had to say once what I wanted. She heard every word and executed it perfectly. Passion for your work may also be a thing of mine. Lol. An ex-boyfriend lecturing me about money. I don't think it was the context, just the way he did it. Like a stern father. He did a lot of things in a stern disapproving dad way and IDK it was hot. I guess this means I have daddy issues IDK. In modern times it seems like daddy issues, but it basically is your brain saying he sounds like a dad when he does this. He would make a good dad. I should make him a dad. I should mate with him. Or something along those lines. I wouldn't worry about. A girl I was friends with had apparently been giving me hints for a while that I hadn't been picking up on. One time we are hanging out and she goes to take a pee. She yells at me from the bathroom to come here. I walk up to the door and ask her what she needs. With no hesitation she says, "Come in here, I want you to watch me pee." Unexpected turn on for some reason. Hung out mini golfing with a group of friends. Our resident goof was being her typical self, kinda ditzy and along for the ride, but not very skilled, just sorta aloof. Also she's into me, but it's unfortunately not mutual. We all went to play pool as a last minute decision, and as it turns out, her aunt has a pool table in her house and she's been playing for ages every week. She snapped instantly into an extremely unusual focus and level of skill. The pool cue was an extension of the body that she was moving across, on, and around the table, like it was a sophisticated dance that nobody knew better than her. I have never been more aroused by that woman than I was that night. Ever since, it's been the same group dynamic. She's been the same person that I'm platonically friends with. I'll never forget how she woke something up in me that night though, or how weird it was. My girlfriend and I had just finished having coitus. I went to the bathroom, came back, and was ready to go to sleep because I was actually really tired. I start drifting off to sleep when suddenly I hear her voice say, "Oh no you don't, I'm not done with you yet." Then she gets on top of me, bends my arms back, and starts kissing me. It was so unexpectedly hot that I was instantly ready to go again and no longer felt tired anymore. There was a Disney TV movie in like 2008 called Minutemen. At the start of the movie, two of the main male characters are forced to dress as cheerleaders by school bullies and are hung from a flagpole while all the students watch and laugh. That turn on made 10-year-old me awfully confused. And I'm pretty sure that me watching that movie had a huge effect on future me skinks. Edit. They were hung from a bull statue, not a flagpole. Also, this has reminded me of many TV shows I watched as a kid that were, let's say, influential. Like Ash having to dress as a girl in one episode of Pokemon. An episode of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, where one of the boys had to dress as a girl to win a beauty pageant. I could go on, but I think you all get the point. My wife telling me she never wants kids.